My name is Xavier Hadoux, and I'm working at the Centre for Eye Research Australia. First, I'm very thankful for being funding for this research. It's very, very exciting. So what we're interested in is to image the back of the eye with a novel type of technology called hyperspectral imaging. And with this technology, what we want to see, or what we want to get insight into, is the progression of geographic atrophy. So geographic atrophy is a dry form of age-related macular degeneration, and it's a very debilitating disease, and the process is still quite unknown. Like the latency of progression is quite unknown at the moment, and we are pretty sure that we will be able to find a new way of measuring who is more at risk of progression in the disease. And so what we do is we take hyperspectral images of the back of the eye. So hyperspectral images, instead of having a white flash of light like you would have with your conventional fundus camera or eye imaging camera, we split the spectrum of light into its different components. So we start by illuminating the retina with one color, and we move across the spectrum of light with different colors. And we do this very quickly. In a quarter of a second, we manage to take 30 different colors of light. And by interrogating the relationship between how the light interacts with the back of the eye and the actual color, we manage to derive insight into the disease process. This is multiple problems, but one of the problems that we see is it's hard to tell who is going to progress and who is going to progress quickly. Because there are new drugs becoming available at the moment, but it's very hard to say who will benefit the most for having injections straight away. So some people already have patterns of geographic atrophy, but it's hard to know, is it going to progress? And they are all progressing, but is it going to progress quickly and towards the center of vision, or can we wait a little bit? So with the research we are doing, we want to answer this question. Can we say who is going to progress and how quickly they are going to progress? So I did an engineering and kind of data science master back in France. And during this master, I moved to Australia for a 6 months internship at Melbourne University, dealing with some data science kind of project. It was really cool. And I knew I wanted to go back into the medical field because data science is really cool on its own, but it's even better when you can apply it for something meaningful. And so I find a lab, then I moved back to France to do my PhD in hyperspectral imaging and finding new ways of analyzing those very complex source of input. And when I finished my PhD, I moved back to Australia and started at the Centre for Eye Research to start a project on hyperspectral imaging of the retina, which was almost the first kind of project in the eye at the time. Yes. So the hyperspectral camera, so we started with a research grade camera that we purchased probably in 2015 from a Canadian company, and so it was a very expensive bit of equipment, but very useful for us to kind of derive the first insight of what we could do with such camera. But quickly enough we realized it was a bit too bulky and it takes a bit too long to image. So we decided to build our own camera. So my engineering background was, I can do a camera, it should be easy. It wasn't. But we managed to get funding, and we've learned a lot about the full process of the full camera design, and it also gives us insight of how to analyze the data afterwards. And so we've been doing this for the past 3 years, and we got really good results with our prototypes, and now we also span out a company to try to make this camera at a low cost, at scale. So it could be multiple. So for example, an optometrist would be able to afford our camera. It would be the equivalent of a normal fundus camera, but with the added benefit of being able to tell who is going to progress. And therefore they could refer those patients directly to the ophthalmologist for injection in a more streamlined manner. Because ophthalmologists, if everyone with GA go to see the ophthalmologist every 6 months, it's just not feasible. It's just too many. So it would help kind of streamlining this process of really picking up the people that need it the most. It's not a replacement. They both have their advantages, I would say. OCT is very useful. We still need to analyze a bit more. Like it's quite complex to look at. It's a very big cube of data, the OCT. So you need to do proper annotation to see who is progressing or not. But I don't see it as a replacement. It's an added. It's more the replacement of a fundus camera, because we can do exactly what a fundus camera can do, plus additional biomarkers or progression. Oh, that's always the idea. It is quite complex to do optically. There have been some kind of smartphone little add-on that you could do. It's usually color photo, but we never know. Technology is evolving so quickly. It's never easy. Research funding is always a tricky one. We've been lucky to have access to a lot of participants at the Center for Eye Research, and we've developed our camera in the lab next door to the research where the patients are being imaged. So we managed to do quick iteration and show results fairly quickly, which is usually what granting bodies want to see. So I think we've been fortunate enough to have access to kind of early data to push the grant through. So I want to thank you for the generous gift that was given to the Macular Disease Foundation, and I was recipient of a part of it, and this is enabling me to push the research forward.